A question for you tonight. If you had been standing at the finish line of the Boston Marathon in April of 2013, would you have known how to help those injured in the bombing? What about a car accident or a train derailment or last week at the Kansas City Chiefs Parade? A first aid program being taught around the world is designed to make sure you do know how to help in an emergency, and it traces its roots back here to Connecticut and one of the worst episodes of violence in our state's history.
1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5.
Over the years, CPR has become required learning for teachers and coaches and practiced by lots of people in all walks of life. It's valuable training that has saved many lives, but it doesn't address the #1 cause of accident-related death.
The #1 cause of preventable death after an injury is bleeding.
That's why medical professionals all over the country and the world are teaching a new first aid course called Stop the Bleed.
Applying direct pressure is very important, and it's not difficult to do. Most bleeding can be stopped by just leaning into it.
This is a Stop the Bleed course at Avon High School being taught by Dr. David Shapiro and a team of volunteers from Trinity Health. Just like CPR, Stop the Bleed covers the basics, teaching skills most anyone can learn.
Steps. It's holding pressure, providing packing, and putting on a tourniquet.
After a brief lecture, students break up into groups and practice the skills hands-on. They learn how to react and respond, when to use pressure, how to pack a wound, when to use a tourniquet, and how long to hold it. The idea is to turn all these teachers and everyone who takes the class into what Shapiro calls immediate responders.
We don't call them first responders, we call them immediate responders. These are folks who are at the ready. They are standing in the middle of the street when someone gets hit by a car or their bike crashes, and they can instantly turn on the "I can help you."
Stop the Bleed has been taught for several years now, and millions have taken the class across the globe. What you may not know is that Stop the Bleed is one of many life-saving programs created right here in Connecticut in the wake of the Sandy Hook school shooting.
It's very different when it's a child. So I felt very strongly that we needed to do something about this.
Dr. Lynn Jacobs is a trauma surgeon at Hartford Hospital. He is credited with getting the Stop the Bleed ball rolling. He says the morning of the Sandy Hook shooting, his emergency room was told to expect casualties, and they put the choppers on standby.
And in a very short while, they said, stand down. So we assumed that there was no problem.
We now know they were told to stand down because tragically there was no one to pick up. After that, Jacobs petitioned the American College of Surgeons, where he sits on the Board of Regents, and got authorization to form a committee which came to be known as the Hartford Consensus. This panel of national experts went to work determining how to train people to stop severe bleeding.
The problem is that the public, generally speaking, sees a bad event, they call 911, and then they run for cover. What we want to do is empower people to move towards the bleeding person and then do something.
Their work caught the attention of then-President Barack Obama, who issued a presidential directive that put the resources and expertise of the federal government at their disposal.
So that got us the military, the FBI, Homeland Security, police, fire, and then emergency medical response services and the hospital community. And we had a very simple charge: create a program to empower the public to stop bleeding immediately.
And they did, using knowledge gleaned from emergency rooms, accident scenes, battlefields, and more. A decade later, Stop the Bleed is being taught by 200,000 instructors in 150 countries, and 3.6 million people have received the training. And that's just the start. Dr. Jacobs says the goal is to reach 100 million people with this life-saving training.
We did a national survey, and this is a nationwide survey. 91% of the people said they would be willing to be helpful in a bleeding event, and they would be willing to be trained. That's a huge number.
It is. All right, so look, the Sandy Hook school shooting was horrible no matter how you look at it, and nothing is worth what those families went through in December of 2012. But Stop the Bleed and the more than 25 other campaigns and programs that sprang up in its wake do represent a silver lining around that dark cloud, and lives are being saved as a result. By the way, I should add that training is all done by a team of volunteers. It doesn't cost anyone a penny. It's completely free to anyone interested. And we have details on our website, fox61.com, on how you can get someone out there to teach that class at your place of business or school or whatever organization.
The more I learn about Stop the Bleed, the more I'm thinking that one day this will be like CPR, right? We learn the Heimlich and we learn CPR, and now we're going to learn Stop the Bleed.
That is certainly the hope.
Matter of time before we all learn this.
It'll be all around the world.
Exactly.